Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to A Guide to Poor Parenting, a podcast where me, Jason,
and me, Jennifer,
have a few drinks
and talk shit about our kids.
And if you could, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, both at Guide to Poor Parenting. Let me see if I can adjust my microphone because it's wanting to sync on me. Ooh, that's the wrong direction. We are just having all sorts of technical difficulties today.
Woohoo!
Oh, Lord. Well, besides our technical difficulties, Miss Jennifer, how's your week been?
It's been okay. Wesley's been a little butt, but you know, that's par for course.
Par for the course.
Par for course.
They've both been like struggle busing with lying lately.
Very much so.
But
and turning into preteens.
yes.
And all the hormones and the changing of medicines and all that good stuff just does not help things.
No, it
Because
does
you never
not.
know if it's medicine or if it's hormones or if he's just a little shit. So.
Or if it's a foster care trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that too. But yeah.
Well, yeah, it's been a week. Well, I'm very glad for all four of our listeners out there. Hi, Mom. My dear sweet Aunt Nancy came into town to visit us, and my mom. And we begged her to come on the podcast, and we told her we'd give her wine, liquor, and food. And she said yes. So, Miss Nancy, say hello.
Hello,
What are we drinking today, Miss Nancy?
Bordeaux. I can't.
Can't read it.
It's Bordeaux.
I would say it's Les Ports de Bordeaux.
Oh, Les Portes.
Because I'm
Okay.
being fancy.
Les Portes de.
The French is probably lay instead of less.
And
Les-
there's probably no S at the port, huh?
Yeah,
Ports.
ports. Yeah, no, the S is silent.
Well, see, I just added the
Yeah,
S's in the wrong spot. That's all it was.
Yeah, we got done with dinner last night. I was like, well, let's stop by Aldi's. And we'll, I saw this fancy. I was like,
Trader Joe's?
why did I say Aldi's? Trader Joe's, thank
We
you.
were planning to go to Aldi's.
Yeah. But we stopped at Trader Joe's and got some wine. And I'd seen a TikTok thing where someone had done some really yummy looking brie. And we had been at Sam's earlier that day. And Jennifer's like, they have this big wheel of brie for $7. Just get it. I'm like, I'll just wait. I don't want to get that much brie. And then we get home and we buy the brie. And I look in the fridge. I'm like, oh, I already have a thing of baked brie that's supposed to be baked. So it's just been a day.
It has been.
It has been a day.
It's been a year. It's only the beginning of the year.
That's true. It's 2023. Who knows when this will come out? Hopefully it'll come out in probably like March time frame, but we'll see. Well, Miss Nancy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And for the wine.
Yeah. Are you ready to talk shit about your daughter?
Oh, yeah. Any day.
It's a specialty of yours.
Let's talk shit about ourselves.
That's true.
Oh, talk shit about me.
Oh, I get to hear all the stories.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is my first time meeting Miss Nancy, and I get to hear the good stuff. Yes.
Well, Miss Nancy, you and my dad grew up in Northeast Texas in Cason,
Yep.
little town.
Population of 200, and that included the dogs.
Yep. And there were a lot of them.
Wow. More dogs than people?
Probably.
Yeah.
Definitely more livestock than people.
Yeah.
But you left for California. No, did you? You went to
Well,
University of
first I went
Rochester,
to-
didn't you?
First, I went to Centenary College in Shreveport. And after that, I went to University of Rochester in Rochester, New York. Then from there, I went to UCLA, and there I stayed.
Wow.
Now, how did you end up at Rochester?
Well, I had to have some place that gave me a full stipend, tuition paid
Yeah.
and stipend every month. Because otherwise I would be hungry and homeless.
No wine.
No wine,
How was Rochester?
cold. It was so cold there that the Strong Memorial was the hospital that was connected to University of Rochester. And it's so cold and snowy there that there were tunnels from the hospital to the university to the nuclear labs where I worked a lot. It's cold there.
It's like right on the lake.
It's on lake. I can't remember.
Superior
which
or
lake.
something?
Erie, maybe.
Area, I don't know. So you got all those lake effect snow.
Oh, it was terrible.
As I remember when Kelly graduated college from Cornell, I had never been to North New York before, and it was I think early mid-May, something like that, and it had just snowed the week prior, and it was like in the 50s, and I was like, I just come from Texas. This is so cold for May.
We nearly froze to death.
Yeah,
Our
and it
graduation.
was actually late May.
It wasn't. Oh God, it was so cold. So how did you end up in Los Angeles?
What now?
How did you end up in Los Angeles?
I went to UCLA
That was for grad
for
school.
graduate school, and I just never left Los Angeles until I moved. So I started following Kelly all over the country.
No, that was your
Well,
first.
yeah.
That was your first mistake.
Uh-huh.
Now, when you went to UCLA, is that where you met your husband Ed, my uncle?
Actually, I met him in Los Angeles, but after I got my degree in statistics, which having a list I have a hard time saying, but anyway, I went to work for the city of Los Angeles. And so one of my best friends there at the city was Craig Avery. So we used to go, I would go skiing with him. And Ed was Glenda's friend because she worked at Hughes and he was an engineer at Hughes. So we would go skiing together, so eventually we started dating.
How long from, I guess, dating and then marriage and then Kelly? What's that timeline look
Well,
like?
Let me see. I don't remember how long from dating to marriage, but let me see. I was about 34 when we got married, and I decided I didn't want to have a child right away. So probably about I think I was 39 when she was born.
Wow.
Yeah, because you and Mom are the same age, if I remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she had me at 35, and I think Kelly's about 4 years younger than I am.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's how I ended up in Los Angeles and met Ed and stayed.
Now, where were y'all? The house I remember or Kelly growing up in is the Palos Verdes house.
That's correct.
Was that the house y'all bought?
No,
Was that your
no.
first house together?
Our first house was in West LA. Do you know where Marina Del Rey is?
I've heard of it.
Okay. It was right on the boundary of Marina Del Rey. And, I mean, Marina Del Rey is not a city. It's an area.
Right.
But we were very close to Marina Del Rey. So, and what was the question?
Was the Palos Verdes house y'all's first house together?
Okay, no. So, we bought a house on Moore Street, which was, like I said, very close to Marina Del Rey. And that's where she was born. That's where we lived when she was born.
Mm.
Then, after she was born, and when it came time for kindergarten, I put her in a private kindergarten because the schools in that area were LA City schools and they were terrible. My next door neighbor actually had their little boy in the kindergarten, and he was a year ahead of Kelly. And it was so bad that they actually left Los Angeles.
Wow.
So anyway, when it came time to go to kindergarten, I put her in a private kindergarten. And Ed said, well, instead of paying for private kindergarten, why don't we just move to an area that has good schools? So we moved to Palos Verdes.
Now, is Palos Verdes its own separate city from Los Angeles?
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
there's on the Palos Verdes Peninsula. It's a peninsula out into the Pacific, and there's 4 cities there. And
Oh,
we
okay.
live in Rancho Palos Verdes, the poverty area of Palos Verdes.
Because nowadays all of it.
Well, I mean, it was even then. It was,
Very expensive.
I think one of the richest cities in the nation is at the top of that hill. Rolling Hills is really, I mean, only millionaires live there. And then there's Rancho Palos Verdes and Rolling Hills Estates and Palos Verdes Estates. So they make up. But Rancho Palos Verdes was the poorest of the rich cities.
Oh, okay. I got you. It's like living out in Hampton Cove in Huntsville as opposed to Madison.
Yeah.
What, nowadays you just hear the horror stories of how expensive LA is, but was it
Yeah.
expensive then?
Well, the Palos Verdes area was, but no, LA wasn't generally all that expensive. But I'll be surprised if California becomes less expensive because people are leaving California because of high taxes, high crime. So, I think it's bound to have an effect, but it's so expensive, I could never afford to move there again.
But did you know how much that Palos Verdes house is listing for
When
now?
we bought it, it was 300,000, and then we sold it for 550,000.
Wow.
And I'm
Wait,
sure,
you bought that thing in like 1980, didn't you?
Let me see. No, she was born in 81, and we bought it when she was 5, so that would make it 86.
300,000 and 86 money. That's still really expensive.
No, it was, and I was a nervous wreck. I was sure that we were going to go bankrupt. But anyway, so it's, I'm sure now it's probably
Oh, it's well over
one
a
and a half
million.
or 2 million.
Yeah.
Because we had a view of the harbor area.
Their house they grew up, or Kelly grew up in, was it's small, but it was really cute. And
Well, it was 2,000 square feet,
Yeah.
2,200 square feet, so
Oh.
it wasn't that small.
no, I guess it wasn't. But I just remember. I guess I only been there like a handful of times, but I just don't remember it being like a sprawling mansion or
No,
McMansion or
it
anything like that.
wasn't, but it was 3 bedrooms, and there was a pool with a
Yep.
pool deck, and
I always remember it overlooking, like you could see the lights of the city below. It was really
Yeah.
pretty.
That's cool.
But I was always, you think of LA being like kind of a desert, but it was always so cold at night. Because because of the water, but it's all, my favorite phrase is the dry heat too. It's like once that sun dips down, it's like there's hardly any moisture in the air, and it's just all that sea
especially
breeze.
right on the coast.
Yeah, that sea breeze comes right in over the. It's like, oh God.
If we had lived in central LA, you wouldn't have had that impression.
When's the last time you were back?
I went back, Kelly had a meeting in Los Angeles about 6 months ago, so I went with her. And the amazing thing is, I had worked in downtown LA for years and years and years. I worked, at the county of Los Angeles. I was a consultant, but I worked down at the county office buildings. And I did not recognize downtown LA. The high rises, there weren't that many high rises when I was there. And
Because
now
it was
it's-
pretty scary when you were working there, wasn't it?
Well, parts of downtown were.
Like Skid Row area.
But I worked in the area where the government offices were and the music center. I worked right across the street from the music center, so I could stay in my office and watch the Academy Awards people.
Oh,
And-
Oh,
wow.
that's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, it was, that part of downtown was perfectly safe. But parts of downtown, were very scary, like Skid Row. And as a matter of fact, when I was working for the city of LA, I was working at one point with the Community Development Department. And they decided they would make this one area of downtown LA more safe by renting an office building right in Skid Row. And after we started there, they warned us, do not wear jewelry on your way to work.
Oh, God.
And people literally, in some of those Skid Row apartment buildings, they would throw hot water on people walking through. And so they said, do not walk close to the buildings.
Oh,
Oh, my
wow.
God.
And then, of course, they had us, poor people park in this lot where you had to walk through Skid Row to get to your car, whereas all the executives parked right in the building.
Heck yeah.
And I filed a complaint, which didn't get me anywhere. A lot of people mad at me, but still, I thought it was very wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is kind of BS. So Miss Kelly, she went to the public school. She didn't go to high school though in Ranches Park.
She,
you put her in
what
a
happened
private
is, when she started high school, I put her in Chadwick, which is
Yeah.
a private high school. And that was because one of her best friends at work was Peter Zuckerman.
I remember Peter.
At school was Peter Zuckerman. And the Zuckerman's kids all went to Chadwick when they started high school. And I thought it would be much better for Kelly because the Palos Verdes High School was a big high school, like, I don't know, 1,000 people or so, 1,000 kids. Whereas Chadwick, and the classes were like 30 or 40 per class. Whereas at Chadwick, class size was about 10 or 12. And it was a very pretty campus. And so, yeah, I put her there. And it was a good decision, I think, because she got
Yeah.
a really good education.
Well, like so the Peter Zuckerman she's talking about, he's actually a Peabody Award winner, isn't he? Or is it?
He could be. I don't know. He's written some books that
Yeah.
were bestsellers.
Yeah, Buried in the Sky, about people dying on Everest, and a couple others. But he was a journalist too.
Yes.
And he was married to, I think he might still be married to the mayor of Portland for a little while.
Well, the ex-mayor of Portland,
Yeah,
Sam.
yeah.
Yeah. They are still together. So.
But Kelly's class is like, the heavens blessed that Chadwick, because like they're all doctors, lawyers, award-winning journalists, and so.
Well, they were all smart kids, and like
Yeah.
I say, Chadwick did a really good education. Gave him a really good education to boot. So.
Yeah. So what did y'all ever think about having a second one?
No, I was too old. Besides that, I didn't think I could handle more than one, and it was a good decision.
You couldn't afford more than one.
That's right. But to get another one like Kelly, and they would have had to put me in the middle.
I was about to say, I think Kelly's pretty close. Don't worry. So what? Do you remember any foils and fun stories from Kelly's childhood?
Well, I'll tell you one. It was very embarrassing, but it's probably the one that sticks in my mind the most. Ed had a conference in Monterey, California. So Kelly and I accompanied him to this conference, and it was really nice, you know. But after we got there, I kind of had a stomach problem. So I took Kelly, and we went to the ladies' room, and I was sitting in a stall, and you know the stall was kind of far back. I mean, the toilet was kind of far back from the door. And I took Kelly in with me. So she opened the door so that the whole restroom could view me.
With your upset stomach?
And I couldn't move. All I could do was yell and scream, which brought more attention.
Right.
Oh, Lord. How old was she at the time? Like 3?
About 4.
Okay. That's so funny.
That is funny. I would never go there again. If that was me, that's for sure. But
So after Kelly went to Chadwick, she went to Cornell. No, she went to a community college, didn't she?
No, she went to Columbia in New York City.
Oh, I
But-
forgot about that.
Yeah, she had some emotional problems. You know, her dad was diagnosed with leukemia, and Ed, excuse me, being sick with a terminal illness made him furious. And so that gave Kelly a lot of emotional
Yeah.
issues. And so she went off to Columbia, but she didn't last very long. And so I brought her back home and put her in community college, put her in Santa Monica Community College, and then from there she went to Cornell.
Okay. So I remember when she applied for college, she was sending out audition tapes because she was going to be an organist.
Yeah, she wanted to go to what's that music school in New York City?
Juilliard.
Juilliard.
I thought that was a
And
high school.
She auditioned for Juilliard, but she didn't get into Juilliard, but she did get into Columbia. So
Okay. And she was going to do organ at Columbia?
no, she was going to, you know, the music was secondary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but she really enjoyed it, and she was good at it too.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she used to play the organ. Her piano teacher and her organ teacher belonged to this, I think it was Episcopalian or Presbyterian church there in Palos Verdes. And so Kelly became their organist. And, you know, at 16, she was making $100 a week.
Heck yeah.
playing
that's
in
some
an
good
album.
money.
Yeah, played an hour, working an hour a week, so.
I think she had to quit though, because like she threw out her back or pulled a muscle in her back, didn't she?
No, she had back problems from sitting there, but she stayed there until she went off to college.
Yeah,
Okay.
She gave us a performance when we went out for her graduation. Remember that?
Yeah,
Was it the high school graduation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, why wasn't I there? I was in college, but I don't remember why I wasn't there.
Because you didn't like Kelly that much. It was.
I was there for a college graduation. I don't remember why I wasn't there for high school though.
It's probably because
Yeah,
we
I
didn't want to
remember why
foot
you
the
weren't
bill
there
for
either.
your flight.
Yeah, they didn't want to pay for you. They want to spend their money on themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
It was
How dare you.
It was a holiday.
How dare you, Mom? If you couldn't hear, my mom's in the peanut gallery, kind of shooting off comments.
I'm sure you were in college, so you probably couldn't go. It was probably final exam time for you.
Yeah, they just didn't want to ask you to go.
Yeah,
That's what
probably.
It was. Like your mama said, don't want to foot the bill.
But I say they paid a pretty penny for my college education. They probably didn't want to spend any more.
Yep.
Was that when we were in Denver and he was in Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? So after she finished Cornell, did she go straight to UCLA for medical school?
And so she got her medical degree at UCLA.
And then she did a MD PhD program, and she got into
She went to
Cambridge.
Cambridge
in
She
in
did
the
that
UK.
before she got the PhD.
That's right. After her junior year, she went into the Howard Hughes Foundation had a medical thing that you could apply for, and so she won that, and she went to the Howard Hughes Medical Institute in Washington, and that's where she met Jesse, her husband. He was also on that same program. He had been at Creighton Medical School in Nebraska.
Nebraska, yeah.
So that's where they met. And then she came back and did her final year at UCLA, and then she went to Cambridge, and they kept,
Stringing her along.
yeah. So anyway, and then after she after Cambridge, she went back to UCLA.
Yeah, for residency, if I remember. Yeah.
It's a lot of school is all I'm hearing. Lots of school.
A lot of
I mean,
schools.
fun Cambridge, but lots of school is all I hear with that, and money.
Well, with Kelly, did y'all pay for the medical school, or did she have scholarships the whole
I
way?
paid for the first 2 years, I think it was, and then she got a scholarship for the
Okay.
last 2.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, Kelly always had incredible. I will say Kelly is probably one of the. Kelly and my dad always shared that thing that I was always jealous of, that I didn't inherit myself, that they could focus so well, and they could
Yeah.
just, like, Dad could just, like, tune out everything. And Kelly can do the same thing. She'd be like, oh yeah, I was working so hard I forgot to eat. And I'm like, I have never forgotten a meal in my entire life.
No,
I was
I
like,
don't think I worked that hard.
yeah. I was like, nothing can get me to focus that hard. But Kelly and my dad could always just, like, focus so hard on whatever they were doing. It was just like, God bless. I wish I'd gotten that. Oh well. But I remember when we went to, Kelly invited us to her Cambridge graduation.
Right.
And Mom and Dad and I and you flew out for that. And I think
Yeah.
you and,
That
oh,
was-
and Zane. Yeah. And then Zane and I attended her master's graduation, and y'all did her PhD graduation, so we could all see.
But that was fun.
Yeah,
going to England
that was
together,
really good.
'cause we toured all of England. We took 2 weeks, and we toured all of England. We went to Bath and to Scotland, and it was-
Not when she was graduating. You did that previously.
did I?
When
You,
did-
yeah, you, me, and Kelly and
Well,
Jesse.
the Alzheimer's is.
We went to Ely
Yeah,
and found my
a wedding ring. Yeah, we did.
That was we went to Paris.
We did. We took the channel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we took that train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we were in England, we went to
Yeah.
Cambridge, and then we went to Ely, which is next door, and we found Zane's wedding ring there. And then we went to Paris right after that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
where I proposed.
That was really a lot of fun.
Oh, since I've got my mom here, I don't know if she ever told you this, but I got so tickled when she asked this. But we were talking about, she said she was nervous about going on the channel, the train under the
Uh-huh.
English Channel. She's like, aren't the boats going to hit the tube?
The what? Bomb?
You were worried about boats hitting the tube or the tunnel.
I was worried about the size caving in.
I didn't want to drown.
Me either.
Got so tickled with that. That was a fun trip. We've done some pretty.
Yeah, we've had some really nice, fun trips together as a family.
And so
I'll
many of
always
them are associated with Kelly's graduation.
I was about to say
So
she's been in. This whole family is like way overeducated. I'm about to say I think Martha's the only one without a graduate degree, isn't she?
Well, she has a nursing degree, and actually, when Martha gets mad at me, well, one time,
So for everyone listening, Martha is Nancy's eldest living sister.
yeah, she's the only other one of the four of us left. Martha's 7 years older than I am, and so one time, I think her son Tom said something about her being bossy, and I said, yeah. You know, she really is bossy. Well, Tom went and told Martha that she was bossy. So anyway, when I got there the next time, she gave me a big lecture on why she was bossy. Because she was the smartest one in the family. And it's probably true. She didn't really get an education. She had the opportunity to go get a degree in nursing, you know, or she went to a nursing school instead of a college, you know, to get, but anyway, and she said the only reason she didn't take that was because she had met Tommy and she wanted to get married instead. And I mean, really, Martha is a really smart person.
Yeah.
yeah, she is.
No, I'm definitely. Yeah, all the Minter siblings were super smart and very well educated. She was the only one without a graduate degree, though, because
Yeah, exactly.
Shana had an
Yeah,
education.
she had she had a master's degree in counseling, I think.
Yeah. And you've got a PhD, and Dad
I
has a
have
master's.
PhD, yeah.
Yeah. I took off my auntie because I got my master's. I was going for a statistics PhD too, but didn't quite make it.
And I tried to get him to do that. I'm still mad at you for not doing that.
What did I tell you why I dropped out?
Because you didn't want to spend any more time in college.
Well, that was part of it, but I was also volunteering at a youth center in Dallas, and one of the kids had committed suicide right before, like, I was due to take my qualifiers again.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, I don't think I can handle this right at the moment, so. And I'd already been in college. I mean, I realized, like, Kelly's been in longer, but I'd already been in college, like, 10 years at that time, so I was like, ugh.
Well, he's going back to his roots because I'm taking statistics from my associates and he's helping me with that. So we've already done business statistics 1, now we're in business statistics 2. And I don't understand it, so he is really helping me out there.
So what if, like, being a parent, what do you think, I was going to say, where do you think your biggest successes and failures have been?
Well, when Kelly was very small, like, 3, 4, or 5, she was always really headstrong. And if I wanted to turn right,
She's still headstrong.
She wanted to, she's still headstrong. If I wanted to go right, she wanted to go left, and she'd throw an absolute fit. So when I took her to the pediatrician for a checkup, I asked him about it. He said, well, with a child like that, my advice is pick your battles carefully, because otherwise you're going to be fighting all the time. So, I quit yelling at her for using the bed as a trampoline.
There you go.
And stuff like that. As long as she wasn't hurting herself, another human being, or an animal, I kind of let her do whatever she wanted to do.
I think she's took that to heart with her boys too.
But it really is hard with a headstrong kid because you don't want to, you really don't want to criticize them all the time.
Yeah.
So,
And you don't want to fight all the time.
no, you don't want to fight all the time. And that's what he said. He said, you're going to be fighting all the time if you try to impose your will on her whenever there's something that's, not really important. So, he was right. It was the best advice I ever got.
I also think part of that was too, she had good genetic stock because you and Ed were very smart, hardworking people and surrounded by smart, hardworking people that were kind.
Well,
So
I guess.
you guess.
No, I don't know why she is what she is. I mean, I'm sure she got, her dad was very smart, so I'm sure she got her brains from the both of us. But
Was Ed pretty headstrong?
Ed, oh yeah.
Okay. I don't have a ton of. I only have met Ed probably like maybe 5 or 6 times. So I don't have a ton of memories of him, but I don't.
No, he definitely was headstrong. So yeah, he got that from she got that from him. I mean, I'm so easy to get along with.
Yeah.
Especially after some wine.
That's right.
That's right. Do you have any regrets from?
No,
Good.
I really don't. I mean, I may have made mistakes, but everybody makes mistakes, and I just don't think you can ever get everything right. So, no, I think generally I did okay.
Yeah, Mom.
I had plenty of felt like I made plenty of mistakes.
Well, yeah, I know.
Probably when they were interviewing me, and I was thinking about raising Kyle. If I had gotten that advice, I might have been better with him.
Well,
It is difficult with a headstrong kid.
yeah.
And I mean, we all learn. So I tell Wesley all the time, I'm like, look, I'm learning how to parent. You're learning how to be my child. We're not always going to get it right. I'm sorry, but this is just the way that it is because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You can look back and be like, oh, shit, I should have done this, this, and this. But that doesn't help you at the time when you're just right there and you're getting flustered or you're getting frustrated with them and you're like, oh, should I fight this or should I not? And it's like, okay, will I win this war? No, I don't think I will. So, okay, you can take such and such. Or I'm going to fight this. We're going to go at it, So it's all
But
learning.
I have learned that lesson because now I get along fine with Kyle because I pick my battles.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
But I have to put up with a lot.
Yes.
Well, we all do with our kids.
yeah.
What was your childhood like? I mean, I know you grew up with 3 siblings. My dad, your 2
Well,
older sisters.
But my parents never got along, which
Really?
was hard. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Are you kidding me? I can remember being 4 years old and my dad threatening to kill my mom because she wasn't going to do this. I mean,
Wow.
he didn't literally ever try it. But just screaming and yelling and saying, if you do this, I'm going to kill you.
I never knew that because
Wow.
Granddad
Yeah.
was
No.
passed by the time I was
My
born.
father was very contemptuous of my mother. And so they never got along my whole life. And then he moved out when I was in high school, probably around 9th or 10th.
Oh, I never knew they separated. Did they ever get divorced?
No, he went and lived across the street with his mother.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
It was horrible because he wouldn't give us money. He hated mother so much he wasn't going to supply
Wow.
anything. So I had to go over and get money from him. And sometimes I had to go to the domino hall where he would play dominoes after work and ask for money for groceries. I mean, it was horrible.
And he was the principal of the high school.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, of junior high. He was principal of junior high. But
Wow.
he really, he liked Tom. He liked your dad. Because I remember once he took him on a trip. And he liked Martha because I think she looked like the Mentors.
Yeah.
But Chana and I were dead weights.
Well, you and Chana always looked like Grandma to me.
Yeah, we did, yeah. And I think that was another reason that he didn't have any use for us.
What's funny is though, I think Dad looks a lot like Grandma too now. Like towards the end of his life, he had the Mentor nose
Yeah.
and.
But I mean, your dad was his son, and I think
Yeah.
that made a big difference
True.
because he probably had more respect for him than he did for the rest of us, except for Martha. He liked Martha. He did.
Oh, I mean, I'm not doubting you. I was just like learning all the family secrets I never knew.
But Tom, I don't think had respect for him.
No. No,
Well, I
he
mean-
didn't. When he died, I mean,
Yeah, because
Tom and I were still in school, barely making it. And he left his, he had a small insurance policy through work. He left that to his mother instead of us.
And Tom joined the
Army.
army
Yeah.
and had sent all of his money back to his mother to support her. And
Yeah.
even after we married, we had to support
Yeah,
her.
and I was making $200 a month, and so I was sending $50.
Wow.
So it was, yeah, I mean, and that was the big reason I think that Tom really didn't have any respect for him, is that he felt like he didn't live up to his obligations in life.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow.
Now, was your grandma, because he moved in, was she nice or was she mean?
You know, she was not a grandmother that ever, I don't remember her ever doing anything for any of us. She wasn't hostile to us, but she also wasn't warm.
She was to me.
Oh,
Was she?
Yeah.
Hostile or nice?
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Always nice.
No, she wasn't rude to us. She just didn't take any interest in us.
so that money that she got, she kept.
Yeah.
Didn't help you guys out.
Well, actually,
Well,
she
she
did
fed
give
them.
some of it. She gave some of it to,
The church.
well,
Maybe.
no, she actually gave some of it to Tom and I, but it was only some of it.
Wow.
And then my aunt, of course, inherited what she didn't give to us.
All the family,
drama.
all the family drama.
Because, when you have a dysfunctional family, lots of things go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, this is frankly the first I've heard of the dysfunctional family.
You've heard of my dysfunctional.
Well, yeah, I know about your dysfunctional family, but my mom's next eldest sister Nelda was around more. Like dad's side of the family was like you were in Nancy, you were in California, and the other sisters were Northeast Texas, and I didn't see them very often. Your mom's side of the family I saw a lot more often, so I was kind of more cognizant of what was going on. All the family drama. So tell us more. What?
Anyway, I blocked the rest out.
No, probably good. Have some more.
Where did you grow up? What
In
city?
Kaysen had about 200 people.
What state is that?
Texas.
Texas.
It's
Oh.
northeast Texas.
It's about 3 or 4 hours north of Houston.
So your dad just pretty much stayed in Texas?
My dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, Denver.
Yeah, my dad lived in. He went to University of Texas, and he was also in the Army for a little bit over in Germany for a bit, stationed there. But he went to University of Texas and lived there in Texas almost all his life, except for the 7 years in Denver.
Okay.
7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 years. Nancy's the only one that really left the state.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I got a scholarship to UCLA, so I went, and I remember I took a bus from Rochester to Los Angeles.
Oh my God.
It was a
That
long
was-
trip.
That sounds horrible.
$50.
Jesus Christ.
So I got to Los Angeles, and the lady who was going to be my advisor in graduate school, I stayed with her while I looked for an apartment. And so I found an apartment for $90 a month, and he wanted $90 in advance, and of course I only had $50. So I called your dad and I said, I need $90. So he sent me a check for $90, and I put it in my bank and paid the landlady $90. But back then, the communication between banks was slow, so the check bounced. But by then, my scholarship check came, so I was saved.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. Tom was living paycheck to paycheck
Oh
too.
yeah,
He was I guess he was at the University of Texas then.
yeah. So he was as poorer than I was, but
I did.
we made it.
Yeah, y'all survived. I'm impressed. I do remember Dad said he had ulcers at one point because he was like so stressed about money.
And I'm sure that probably contributed to it. And I have rheumatoid arthritis, which is, stress is what causes it, so I'm sure that's part of it too.
Yeah.
Dang.
But we made it.
We made it.
That's right. Made us stronger.
That's
That's
right.
Is that 80 years
What,
strong?
does it kill you? Makes you stronger.
Puts you into a mental institution.
No, No, it just makes you drink wine.
That's right.
That's all it
That's
is.
right,
That's right.
Yeah.
I do.
That's right.
Wait, speaking
Hey,
about
I like Miss Nancy.
speaking of wine, I was Nancy grew, lived in California for so long, and her and Kelly are both big wine drinkers, and I remember you remember that study like probably a decade ago or 20 years ago, like a glass of wine at night is like good for your heart.
Did you just ask me if I remember something?
What it is.
So do you remember the study? You know what I'm talking about, right? They said
Yeah.
that a glass of wine at night is like good for your heart or whatever.
Red wine.
Yeah.
Red wine.
Well, I was listening on TikTok and the other day, and somebody was talking about how that study's been debunked. And I was like, "Oh, don't tell Nancy." Not that it'll make much difference, but
Hey, she got to this point with her
That's
wine,
right.
2 bottles a night. No, is that what you said? 2 bottles a night?
No, I'm just messing. But I bet the guy that did that study dies of heart trouble.
I was gonna say, if he's apparently not studying the French because they've been
Yeah.
That's right.
they drink till they're 90, and
Let's go on siesta.
that's right,
Lunchtime, drink some wine.
that's right.
Well, in Europe, the wine drinking, especially among the French, started with the monks because the water was so bad that you drank wine instead of water
Yep.
to keep from getting.
Well, yeah, like before tea was introduced, I think beer and alcohol was
Yeah.
how you made sure you weren't getting poisoned by the poop-filled water that you got out of
That's
the
right.
wells. Blech.
Alcohol kills most things.
That's right.
I was just telling Jennifer I watched a documentary about how there was a thing of cholera outbreak in London, and they traced it to this well where people were drinking out of, but it was also where they dumped their like chamber pots and all that stuff. It's like, oh, I was like, how did it?
I mean, water's not supposed to be that color.
Oh,
You know,
God.
it's supposed to be clear. If you don't have clear water, then don't drink it.
Blech.
No.
They didn't have a choice.
No, well, drink wine.
That's right. That's what they did.
Yeah.
I think last night we were actually talking about how like we're spoiled on how things smell. I was like, I can't even imagine like going to London 200 years ago and just
Yeah.
the smell of everything, or like, can you imagine New Orleans 200 years ago and that heat?
Nope. I mean, it smells in 2022.
Yeah, they don't smell that great now.
So thinking of,
Blech. That swamp.
1902.
Ugh.
Ugh. Even worse. Good times.
Well, now that you're a grandmother, how's that been treating you? I know your grandson's run you ragged.
Oh yeah. I literally can't take care of them for more than about 30 minutes at a time. I mean, they're 2 boys and they're rambunctious. And if they were on this couch, they'd be jumping off the arms and flipping over this, it's like they're nice kids. They're very nice kids, just very rambunctious.
Yeah.
Very hyper, it sounds like.
Well, they're just boys.
They don't have the, like, they can be calm when they need to. They're not
Yeah.
like Wesley is, where he's super distracted, but they just feed off each other, and they have internal playmates because they're so close in age.
Right.
And
And
they give them like Nerf guns.
well, the Nerf guns stay in the basement,
Yeah.
but they are
Little white boys, They
loud.
don't have any worries about having Nerf guns.
Yeah,
True.
Jennifer's kind of cautious about letting Wesley have any
Well,
Nerf guns.
Kelly probably wouldn't have done it, but Jesse comes from a gun family, so
Yeah.
he was all for it.
He's also white, and like we're hesitant to let them play with guns just because.
Well, that's true. That's
Yeah,
very true.
like
You can have a bright pink one get shot.
Yeah.
So I don't want my baby anywhere near that.
No,
So
no, you don't.
unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
Yeah, when we came up for Christmas, no, Thanksgiving. It was, that was the first time I've seen them as kind of older children, and it's like they're sweet kids, but I was like, man, I thought Kalia was loud. Those boys are loud.
Yeah, they are. But they are sweet kids. They
Yeah.
really are.
They're-
And Max especially is really, every time I see him, he hugs me and says, I love you, Nana.
Oh, they adore you. They love you.
Yeah.
It reminds me. You haven't. You may have met her. Do you remember her and Lindsay from the wedding? She has the red hair. You probably do.
I kind of do, yeah.
Yeah, she has 3 boys, and I went over there probably about 6 years ago, and those boys treated me like a jungle gym. and they were just all over me and jumping on me and
Yeah.
tackling me. I was like, and I barely knew them, and yeah. As Jennifer dispenses out more wine, thank you, Jennifer. As we're on to our second bottle, what are we drinking now, Jennifer? This is the
Cherry Blossom Pinot Noir.
Cherry Blossom.
2020.
We have
Bad year.
Bad year? There's no bad year.
That's when COVID started.
Oh,
well,
That's what I was thinking.
wine doesn't catch
no,
well.
2020 is when you got sick.
I hope not.
2020 is when you got sick, honey.
But that's when it started.
Well, yeah, but
What they call it? 19.
yeah, I mean, it did start in China in 2019.
Yeah.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought. well,
No, we got it.
Americans.
I mean, it came like they shut everything down in March of 2020, though.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I said 2020, because that's all I was thinking about.
Oh, I
And
thought
then
you said
got
2019.
2020.
Oh God, I can't hear anything.
It's because you don't listen to
That's true. That's very true. I picked it up from the children's.
Yes, they don't listen to me either. Clea listens to me more so than Wesley does.
Yeah.
Clea's scared of me. I did it right.
Oh, well, let's see. We've talked about our kids and our grandkids. Oh, let's see. I guess we'll transition. So if you have any funny stories about your kids,
Or if you need some bad parenting advice.
email us at guidetopoorparenting@gmail.com, all one word. Miss Jennifer, what do we have for a snack today?
Oh, you already talked about it. We got the
Well,
brie,
tell it again.
The honey and the pecans.
That's right.
That I had to work on. And
And it was delicious. You did a wonderful job.
well, thank you so much, Miss Nancy. But I also made the oven very dirty
Darn
because
it.
it overflowed.
It's all good.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, we were smart and we put it on a baguette so that we weren't crunching all up in the microphones.
Yeah, we were deciding last night, what should we get? We should get some, we were talking about getting, using some of our leftover dip that a friend of ours got us. And I was like, should we get some chips? And she's like, that's not for the podcast. I'm like, okay. Sound like cows chewing
Yeah.
cud in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah. Because I wanted to get carrots for the dip because I like the carrots in the
Yeah.
dip. And I was like, I'm just going to be rah. So that's probably not the smartest thing to do.
If we ever go to video with this podcast, it'll be funny because we'll be covering our faces, trying not to chew into the microphone because it's so loud.
But if you go to video, I won't participate.
Okay.
Because I don't have pictures taken of me anymore.
Oh.
If I look in the mirror, I'm tall and slim. If I see a picture, I'm short and fat. So,
You are not fat.
I was like, Nancy, you have.
I mean, I can say you're short because you are.
I was like, you've
I'm
never been tall.
Most people are short to me anyways because I'm a tall woman.
You are a
but
petite-
You are not fat.
Lady.
Yeah.
Very petite.
Yes. But now I have a goal.
Which is?
Take pictures of Miss Nancy.
Oh. Give one with Wesley.
There you go. Wesley and Clea, she can't say no to
That's
that.
right. All right, well, we've had our drinks, we've had our snacks. I guess it's story time. Miss Nancy, do you have a good story about Kelly?
no, I've done all my story time.
I don't remember a ton of stories, but there was one, something about going to a wedding in a thrift store shift or something like that.
What now?
Didn't Kelly, y'all were going to a wedding or something like that, and Kelly decided it was during the thrift store phase, and she showed up
Oh,
in
that's right. No, it was a bar mitzvah.
bar mitzvah.
She
Okay.
was supposed to go with the Zuckermans to a bar mitzvah. So I had gotten her a dress to wear at the bar mitzvah. But instead, she had gone to a thrift store and she got a slip. It was literally a slip. And but she had worn it and it was dirty. So what she did is she pulled that slip out of the dirty clothes and put it on to go to the bar mitzvah. So I quickly called Liz and I said, Liz, she's coming over. She's dressed in a slip. You can send her home if you want. Listen, don't worry about it.
Oh, I thought she got. I couldn't. I vaguely remember the story because I remember how mad you were going in a dirty slip. Kids, God love them. Wasn't there? Yeah, maybe that's the story Kelly told me that I shouldn't tell you.
Okay, you probably-
Not that you'll remember it anyway, but that's all right.
Kelly can tell it if she ever gets
That's
one.
right. She's a mother. She
There
can
you
come
go.
on the
Yeah.
podcast.
We get to hear about her two boys.
And her traumatic upbringing.
Yep.
Like, oh, mom and dad were constantly fighting. Well, thank you, Miss Nancy, for coming and drinking wine with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thanks for everybody for listening to A Guide to Poor Parenting.
If you like our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening on.
And, okay, so I'm going to try and do this one from the memory. I typed it out earlier, but I couldn't get to print. Okay. If you don't like our podcast, just like when we tell our when our kids ask us if they can open a Christmas present early.
Tough shit.
That's right.
I thought maybe there was more to it, and I was like, no, let's just say tough shit right now.
Yeah, that's good enough. Well, thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.